Well, the results are in. Everyone loves my mullet, so I'm gonna keep it. Hi, ugly. It's me, Pussy, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. And today, we'll be discussing some main series Drag Race news regarding the fate of season 15, and then we'll be trekking up to the Great North, because it's finally time again to review Canada's Drag Race. We'll quickly recap episodes 2 through 4, and then dive deep into this episode's Snatch game in the periodic table of elements runway, which reminds me, is it aluminum or aluminium? Now let's break out some beakers. First up, we've got an article published by Variety announcing RuPaul's Drag Race has been renewed by VH1 for season 15, along with its after show Untucked. And this announcement in itself is not particularly exciting, especially for those of us who watch Drag Race and knew that the series would certainly be renewed. If I had to guess why we're hearing that the season was just renewed in August of 2022, I would probably say the main reason is PR. Imagine though if World of Wonder filmed an entire season and then VH1 or nobody wanted to buy it. I'd buy it. And notably, Variety highlighted this season will contain its 200th episode. And if season 14's episodic length is anything to judge this one's by, it will also contain the franchise's 300th and 400th episodes. RuPaul is quoted in this article saying, "When I hear season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race, I have to pinch myself. I just won't tell you where. Thank you to the fans, World of Wonder, VH1, our cast and crew, and most of all, our brave and beautiful queens." But on a serious note, cheers to Ru and everyone involved in this show. It really has done so much for queer culture and truly brought us into the mainstream. And that's hot. Now let's bring some heat up to Canada. First, a quick recap of episodes 2 through 4, which I missed reviewing on my channel. In episode 2, the queens are put into pairs to be funny at the award show Who Knows Awards, and Miss Fiercalicious is sabotaged by her fellow queens by getting paired with the funniest person in the room. Kimmy shines brightest this week both on the runway and on stage and takes the win, with Mosu sashaying away. And in episode 3, Miss Fiercalicious is sabotaged yet again. The queens pair up to choreograph lip-sync duets to RuPaul's songs, and Shada Hudson twerks herself all the way from the bottom last episode to the very tippity top. I'll be honest though, it wasn't my favorite challenge, but the runway was to die for. Category was sleeves, and Bombae was giving this almost Sailor Moon-esque hair wrapping around her arms as she came down the runway. And Fiercalicious is sabotaged yet again on the runway, but this time by her own look as Vivian from the Rusical last season. I've got a trick up my sleeve. And Vivian Vanderpuss's tiny hand circus tint was incredibly weird and fun and exciting. And Fierce and Shelazone end up in the bottom, but despite all the sabotage, she persists and sends Shelazone packing in the lip sync this episode. And in episode 4, the queens get got. They're told they're going to be constructing looks from various categories in boxes. However, as it turns out, they all have the same materials. And firstly, from this episode, can we please talk about Shada Hudson's look? Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before. Put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it. I don't know when she lost control of this look, or how many times, but she really said, Jesus, please take the wheel, and served that look on the runway. And despite receiving mixed critiques on her look, Giséle ends up taking the win this episode. The controversy, though, came in with the quantity and placement of the giant crystals on her neck, but the bigger controversy, I think, was who they put in the bottom two. We've got Jada now for her second time, and then Chaos, whose look I thought felt more complete and visually interesting, at least, than quite a few of the other things that were on the runway tonight. And putting my little producer's hat on, I can definitely see potentially how the production team might have been looking for who would be weak in Snatch game and who they didn't want to send home, which could have been why, for example, Irma didn't end up in the bottom. So Chaos sashays away, and we've got a little bit of drama here. Upon her exit, Shelazone posted to Instagram writing this and tagging Chaos. To those saying Chaos and I were robbed, don't worry. As natives, we're already used to it. Hashtag land back, stay deadly. But let's keep the wheels on this bussy going round and round and head on over to Snatch game. First up, Miss Fiercalicious. She starts off this episode saying that she's dedicating herself to change. Brave. And demonstrates that bravery by seeding her primary choice in Snatch game, Ariana Grande, to Kimmy Couture. She ends up doing Kourtney Kardashian, who is probably one of the lesser known and least interesting sisters in the Kardashian family. What's interesting about Kourtney, though, is that she is one of the most fun characters on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She's got this monotone, dead-in-the-eyes delivery on pretty much everything she says that just adds like a layer of, maybe at this point, intentional comedy, but it is particularly enjoyable and easy to parody. She, though, this episode is more a victim of the edit than anything else. We saw only 2 responses from her in the Snatch game. Her intro, which goes over okay, and then the momager's response, where she calls Chris. And honestly, what we saw of her performance was okay, so I've got to give her Snatch game performance a warming up. But had we seen more, who knows? Was the sabotage this time coming from the editing room? Over on the runway, her element is neon, which she says is a science experiment come to life with electrons flowing from port to port. Whatever that means, love her. This look is giving me Betty Spaghetti meets club kid raver at a nightclub. It's a little horse jockey, it's a little Catwoman, it's a little fierce, it's a little sexy, row. And honestly, she looks damn good. This is a great look from her. I love the contrast of those bright neon colors next to all that black latex. This look is hot. Next up, it's that was me hitting those Ariana notes. Kimmy Couture does Ariana and Kimmy. She does her absolute best to make sure we laugh this week at everyone else by being so painfully unfunny. My heart was really hurting for her, especially knowing that she is funny. We saw her be funny in like episode 2. But firstly, Ariana is a weird choice for a Snatch game. My thoughts are, if a prior Snatch game winner like Tatiana couldn't make Ariana Grande funny on All Stars 2, then probably not many people could. And the edit doesn't do her any favors either. She's seen giving 3 responses, all of which go over really poorly. And the double whammy, she's given 3 confessionals. One is positive in favor of Giséle, and the other 2 are negative to herself as she narrates herself flopping. But we're not gonna blame it on the edit here. This performance was a and over on the runway, her element is calcium, or like calcium. So this look, this is unfortunate. And the thing is, there is so much that you can do with a calcium bone-based look. There's a lot of things I can do with a bone. Her look is basically Spirit Halloween bone decorations that are dangling on a loose gold chain around her body in a beige bodysuit. And not even the hair is a saving grace here. It's like kind of falling off her head or leaning too far forward. There is so much about this look that is just all over the place and really, really missing the point. And to see Kimmy in particular deliver this look on the runway, I was shocked. Her looks have been pretty good so far. She did let us know on Instagram, though, that the reason this look looks the way it looks is because the designer that she originally used could not get her the look in time for the show. She does, though, credit Isis Couture with helping create this look. This look is a next up, something holy. Exactly what this channel needs. We have Vivian Vanderpuss doing Tammy Faye Baker, Messner, who was an American TV evangelist, and she has lots of controversy, fraud, and drama and intrigue in her past that make her a really interesting person. A redeeming quality about Tammy, though, despite her line of work, was that she actually was a gay ally during the AIDS crisis. From Vivian, we saw a total of 5 responses, 3 of which were great. All of the judges laughed. 1 of which was just okay. Only Brad and or Tracy laughed, and Brooke didn't. And 1 of which was bad. No one laughed. The bad one, shockingly, was her intro, meaning she started off kind of bad, and then through the power of Christ climbed her way back up to the top. I could almost feel her through the TV making the adjustments that she needed to make. She pulled out the props, the original Sin Cola, and she interacted with the other contestants, a response type that I'm counting as a chime in on another queen's original response. Hers was during Bombae's about measuring a gay guy, and it was received really well by Brooke. She played this character big and bold. Hand movements, crazy eyes, and wit. It was all there. This performance was hot. On the runway, she enlightens us arsenic was used in the 18th century to create green dyes, which I'm sure resulted in a lot of dicing people. And this little tidbit I really enjoyed learning about her runway because it brings a whole nother level of smart to this femme fatale 40s vintage pinup. Vivian's got great taste. I love her point of view and eras that she pulls from to create her style. This look is to die for. Next up, she is the Boom Boom Lady. Her Snatch Game character is Mado, a Canadian drag legend, and who is also apparently obsessed with mosquitoes. We see 4 responses from Lady Boom Boom in this Snatch game, and all of them are duds, and 2 of which are just mosquito in French. But there's really just not a thing about it. It was so flat and so uninteresting for this apparently larger than life character in a giant pink wig and crazy divine-esque drag makeup. And I'm not sure if Boom Boom just didn't feel comfortable emoting to the camera, but it kind of read as if she was disinterested and didn't care about the challenge. I am genuinely curious to know, was she actually trying to be funny, or was she just existing? Are we trying to be funny, or are we dancers? This was definitely a rot, and the confusion I had was compounded, of course, by her winning the reading mini challenge in the same episode. Her runway, though, was next level. Her element is bromine, which is in its liquid form, a reddish-brown liquid, hence the tubes of reddish-brown liquid going all over her body. And my first thought here when I saw this was Bane from like the early Tim Burton Batman movies when they're injecting him with all those chemicals or whatever, and he like gets super scary and evil. Rawr. That was scary, apparently. Rawr. It was super exciting to see such an intricate and interesting mechanic work on the runway, and not just on the runway, but also later in the lip sync. The white that looks almost frozen on her look, I think, based on some Googling, is coming from bromine salts, or she's frozen. The one critique though, and the reason I'm not gonna give it 5 flames, don't yell at me, I was a little confused at the like newspaper writing on her bodice and her shoes. And I think as a look for TV, it maybe would have worked better to edit the focus of this look to have a bigger immediate impact and not leave people confused about what they're seeing. But yes, still a very hot look. Next up, we've got Giséle Lullaby, who is doing Marie Curie for Snatch Game, which was a weirdly appropriate choice for the runway category of this episode. She, if you did not know, is the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize, and the only woman to win it twice, and the only person to have a Nobel Prize in 2 different scientific categories, chemistry and physics. The edit shows us 5 responses from Giséle in this Snatch Game, one of which was a chime in to Jada's first response, all of which are received very positively. She's losing hair, teeth, turning green, and growing tentacles out of her arms by the end of the Snatch Game. Not only was she being funny, but we get to go on this journey with her, and we don't know where it's gonna end up, or what part of her is going to fall off next. And what she did, I think, was a great example how in a challenge like Snatch Game, a queen can truly turn nothing into something great. Her performance was radiating. And on the runway, her element is cesium, which she says is fabulous, pretty, and easy to melt, just like her. Again, Giséle is giving us a show. She is giving us TV. She is giving us impact. She's got leaves and chains of this silvery gold material all over the top part of her body. It's a little Vegas showgirl. It's a little, as she says, Harry Potter snitch. All of it is beautiful and exciting. Eye candy. Why she chose cesium as her element, though, I have no idea when gold was right there. But apparently, cesium is used to create the most accurate atomic clocks in the world, which only deviate by a single second every 100 million years. But this look is phenomenal from waist up. My tiny critiques on this look are I don't love the giant black undergarment pieces sticking out from the bodice, or the plain black straps that are keeping up the boots. I feel she maybe could have edited those pieces a little tighter, but this look is still stellar. It's hot. Next up, our favorite material girl, Shada Hudson. She's doing Saucy Santana for Snatch Game. That is Saucy's song, if you were not aware, Material Girl. Not, though, to be confused with the song Material Girl by Madonna. Different artist. This performance from Jada was okay. We see her give 3 responses, the first 2 of which are received mediocrely by the judges. But you better believe she did not waste 1 question to slide in the Material Girl reference as a response. Her third response is what I think really saved her performance in this Snatch Game and secured her safe spot. We see her chime in on Kimmy's last answer, where Brooke is asking her to sing, and Jada like looks over and she's like, if you're about to sing, I'm gonna put these headphones in. To her credit though, unlike the queens who ended in the bottom 2, she was committed to her character, not afraid to yell out some song lyrics and interject in another queen's response to be a little bit shady and funny. So this was a very warming up performance for me. And over on the runway, past the pepper, she's got the salt. Her element is sodium, and she comes out on the runway. Positives first. In A plus, sodium. Positive, because it doesn't have an electron. Positive is the wig. The wig is gorgeous. It's giving me crystallized princess bubblegum soft serve ice cream meets Cindy Lou Who. But the rest of this look is missing more than just an electron, girl. It is a haphazard concoction of a piece of fabric that is just basically covered in salt rocks. Gloves and shoes are plain and feel like last minute additions that don't match anything. And overall, this look is just a little low effort. So I'm gonna leave it with a But next up, Irma Gerd. We've got Irma Gerd doing Marilyn Monroe. And we saw Irma in the Snatch game give a total of 4 responses, 3 of which were received positively and 1 which was just okay. We also saw her give 1 confessional, which was negative towards Lady Boom Boom, talking about her using the word mosquitoes as a response twice. And what we saw from Irma in this Snatch game was one of the weirdest, twisted, and most bizarre interpretations of Marilyn Monroe I think I've ever come across. It was a very self-aware, campily portrayed, bad caricature of Marilyn, but mixed with Irma's intelligent humor, which has layers. For example, one of her responses is curveball, which as she talks and elaborates turns out to be a curveball of a response. She's going on and sounding smart about the male gaze, and then as part of the joke stops, realizing nobody's paying attention or laughing, and then just says, like the layer of that little misdirect. Really, really fun. She went so far into cringe territory to me that it turned right back around, curveball, and became hot. Mr. President, happy birthday. And on the runway, her element is uranium, which is only found on the planet Uranus. This element is used in reactors, rockets, etc. And again, stay with me, there is another little layer to her look tonight, okay? She's dressed as a housewife from the 50s with a little vintage pinup twist and nuclear, uranium, 50s, family, nuclear, family. She's got a brain and she's not afraid to use it for her entrance look. This is a really cool look. It's smart, it's fun, it's bright, it's attention grabbing. And is it the best thing to ever hit a runway of RuPaul's Drag Race? No, not necessarily, but it's got that Irma touch and flavor. And I'm really, really starting to fall in love with who this queen is. And as I learn more about her perspectives and ways that she injects comedy into her drag, let the hubby eat cake. This look is hot. Next up, Bombae. In Snatch Game, she does gay Aziz Ansari. Which I really didn't have a problem with. Aziz, if you don't know, is an actor, comedian, yada yada. I think he got his come up on Parks and Rec and is himself a very funny person, which is the hardest character choice in Snatch Game you can do, besides Ariana Grande. I think when queens choose these characters that we have too much frame of reference for, judges included, there's just too much expectation. The bar is already too high. I'm expecting to laugh because Aziz is a comedian, so what is the extra layer you're going to add? And for Bombae, her layer was being gay. It felt like she was so close, but so far away from actually being funny in the delivery of her jokes. And I think that did have to do with that expectation a little bit, but I do want to commend her on sticking with the character and being totally animated and lively during Snatch Game. It is also possible though that she was funny and they just wanted to edit her out so that they would have a storyline. Because we only saw 2 responses from her. The intro, which was received okay, and then the French press thing we heard later, which was not. Where were the jokes? This was a on the runway, her element is helium. I hardly know him. So this look right here really did it for me and everyone else watching. She broke the internet. She gave me a little bit of Lee Bowery face Kini vibes. There's definitely some Club Kid inspiration in this look. This might be a deep cut for some of y'all, but it also reminded me of the character Dalk from the anime Bleach. Where my nerds at? Let me hear your heels clack. All I'm saying is keep your eyes on Bombae. She is doing some really fresh and interesting things on the runway this season. And these things, the hair, sleeves, and this balloon type outfit are not easy things to pull off for TV. This look is hot. So our win goes to Giséle Lullaby, which very much makes sense for her performance as Marie Curie. And our bottom 2 today are Kimmy Couture and Lady Boom Boom. But hey, if you were paying attention to the response numbers and stuff that I was showing you of the Snatch Game edit, this probably was no surprise. Drag Race wants to make sure the viewers know who is supposed to be in the top and who is supposed to be in the bottom. And we never see an equal number of responses from our queens in Snatch Game. I'd even go as far to say there was probably a winning edit in there somewhere for Vivian and Irma, who also killed it. And in the same vein, there was likely a bottom 2 edit somewhere to be found of Miss Fierce and Bombae. Anyway, these 2 lip syncs to Run Away With Me by Carly Rae Jepsen, which has a very special place in my heart. And I did react to this challenge runway and lip sync over on my Patreon at patreon.com/bussyqueen. That's my members only website, where my Patreon family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos, access to exclusive videos, and access to the Bussy Queen Discord server. And you can join by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. This lip sync though was a tough call. I mean, Kimmy is an amazing dancer. Lip sync the house down boots as God. And Boom Boom, really great from her too. I think she was a little more restrained in some of the tricks because of all the mechanics of her outfit and not wanting to squirt bromine everywhere. But there was more emotion in her face in this 2.5-minute lip sync than there was in her entire Snatch Game. I was hoping for a double save. Actually, I didn't see either of them going home this episode, but Kimmy takes the win. And I know Boom Boom was a fan favorite and tons of people are going to be upset that she was sent home, but remember, this was not Kimmy's fault that she was sent home. She was apparently receiving some hate, she said on Twitter, writing, "Why am I getting so much hate for sending Boom Boom home? I get that she's your favorite, but that's not my decision to make." And Brooke replied, writing, "Just ignore it, BB. People's aggression and anger towards you/any public figure almost always has nothing to do with you and everything to do with anger and hate they feel for themselves. Just feel sorry for them. Then ask for extra ketchup on your fries." And now it's time for our hottest hots. In the Snatch game, I'm gonna give it to Irma, Gerd, and the Runway, it of course goes to Bombae. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and they have voted for Giséle Lullaby in the Snatch game and Bombae on the Runway. But let me know what y'all are thinking down in the comments below, who should have won, been in the bottom, etc, etc. I also want to say thanks to my patrons who make my channel possible and give an extra special shout out to Lisa Reina Lowe, who's just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and 8 in the individual: Alicia, Angel, Cyrus, Sticky, Felicia, Frankie, Hector Simancas, Jeffrey Steenberg, Joseph, Josh, Kyle Hermes, Laura, Sat, Louis Labrador, Ruff, Luke Peterson, Mark James, Matthew Burns, Mado, Michelle Yorbell, Miss F, Neely, Sailor, Stephen, Topher, Neely, and Will and Tanner, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. See y'all later. Love ya. Bye.